All the wet weather this season means that the garden is full of lush growth this summer, which is perfect for taking semi-ripe cuttings from your favourite shrubs. So with secateurs and a plastic bag in hand, I'm off to collect some plant material. Now this red currant is in the perfect stages of growth for taking semi-ripe cuttings. Current season's growth is still woody at the base and fairly soft and supple at the tips there. So really, to get collecting your material, just take about 20 centimetres of growth from the tips of the current year's growth, and then we can take these up into the greenhouse and get them set in compost for taking the cuttings. Now, if you are going to delay your cuttings, just put them in a plastic bag. It'll keep them moist and avoid evaporation from the leaves and stems. So with these ready, I'm off up to the greenhouse to get them set into the compost. Okay, so I've already filled a seed tray full of cuttings compost with a handful of perlite. The perlite, the white stone, porous stone here, that just aids drainage and stops things from getting too boggy while the cuttings are establishing. Now I've also set that into a propagator tray so that I can just simply pop the propagator lid on top of that afterwards. I've got some hormone rooting compound. I've already started off a few cuttings, so I'm going to show you how to turn this into this and get them set into the compost. So using a clean pair of secateurs or a clean knife, start by removing the soft tip from each of the cuttings, and then you want to go down the stem between 4 and 6 inches, 10-15 centimetres, and just cut directly below one of the leaf joins or a node. Discard that material and then remove the 2 bottom leaves. And then to increase your chances of rooting, you just want to take off a sliver of the bark, like that. And then it's a simple case of dipping it in the hormone rooting powder. Many of these come with a lid that has a dibber on the end, which is perfect for this kind of job. So start by making a hole in the compost and setting in and firming in around the base. Now I've already done that to these cuttings, so it's just a case of dipping them in the powder, creating a hole, setting them, firming in, dipping in, creating a hole, setting them in place and firming in. This tray will hold about 6 plants, because ideally you don't want the leaves from one touching the other. I'll have to keep an eye on that with these ones, but they are just about okay at the moment. There we go. Now these need watering in, and then you can either place the propagator lid on top, or if you've got a greenhouse or a cold frame, just set them in an out of the way spot there. They don't want direct sunlight ideally, so this greenhouse isn't perfect for cutting, so I'll be moving these. Now there is another way of taking semi-ripe cuttings, and this method is called leaf bud cuttings, and these are perfect for when you don't have too much material to start out with, and you can get, I'll get about 4 cuttings from this one stem here. So all I need to do, this was taken just above the leaf bud, so all I need to do is go along the stem, creating small pieces like that, with a leaf atop a small piece of stem. And you don't use the tip, so you just take that off and discard that. Now, fewer plants means you can use a smaller pot, so I'm simply using, I think this is a 5-inch, dipping the cutting in the powder and then setting them around the rim of the pot. This is a common method for slower growing shrubs like camellia, which I'm using here. But there's a few different ways of taking semi-ripe cuttings. These are probably the 2 easiest, and they can be used on a wide range of shrubs. And for a full list of those, go to our amateur gardening website, and for aftercare of these shrubs, see Amateur Gardening 28th of July 2012.